Welcome to our athlete series. Today I'm joined by Amelia Hassett. So Amelia, for those that don't know, can you tell us a bit about what you're doing currently and maybe a bit about your journey to get there?
So currently I'm a Division 1 athlete and play for the University of Kentucky. So how I got there was I began playing with the Aubrey Bandits, I think around 16, I think it was. And then from there, I played there for a little bit and then knew that I wanted to go over to America and play. So I decided to get an agent, a recruiting person to help me, and I went over to Eastern Florida, which is a junior college. So I began there and I started 2 years there before I entered, I guess, the portal in a sense you could say, and got picked up by the University of Kentucky.
Can you talk to us a little bit around the adjustment you had to make going from Bandits, obviously at a pretty young age, into a junior college, and then the jump from junior college into a D1 program?
So Bandits, obviously at a young age, obviously practicing twice a week, doing a little bit of strength and conditioning, having games on the weekend. But then going over to college, it was obviously the sense of training every day, strength and conditioning multiple times a week, and then having games there and everywhere around all the weeks and the weekends. And then from there, the competition was kind of similar, obviously, very physical, very tough, but then going from a junior college to a Division 1 was definitely a bigger jump because better facilities, better competition, obviously one of the best conferences, they say, in America for college. And then just having next level, really, everyone being good. The strength and conditioning was just next level. Practices were 10 times harder. And then games was just a whole different competition. But I think obviously having a first year under the belt, just keen for the next one.
So in the teams you've played in, you've had some team success, and obviously individually you've had some success because it's no mean feat making a Div 1 program and playing the minutes you got this year. What would you put success down to?
Yeah, gosh, I think the biggest things was definitely just working hard to get stronger, get more competitive, and just having the support around me. Obviously coming home is kind of hard because I live in such a small town, but just having people around me who want to help me get better and want to help me learn and continue to grow. So just say work hard and the people who support you.
So you've just wrapped up your season in Kentucky, so literally just landed in the country a few days ago and already back in the gym, which is nice to see. Your team went pretty deep, made the knockout round of the national champs, which is a great effort. What does an in-season week look like for you guys? What does a typical week look like?
So a typical week in season, we have games Thursday, Sunday. So normally we have Mondays off, obviously after the game, and then Tuesday we get back into it with practice and then strength workouts, which is kind of normal, more lighter, I guess, when we're in season. And then we have workouts on Wednesdays, no strength, just training, and that's normally preparation for the game. So we go through scout and stuff like that, and then we play Thursday, and then Friday we either sometimes have it off, or depending on, we have a workout, like a lift in there, and then sometimes we have a light shoot around, like a nice practice. And then Saturday we have another scout, so more lighter, just get some shots up, get running a little bit, and then Sunday obviously have the game.
And then obviously being in America and with the way the conferences work, you could have some travel. So what are some of the turnarounds you've had to do off the back of travel, and whether flights and times back home and next day sessions? How does all that come together?
Sometimes it gets tough, but it's nice being able to fly on a private jet, I guess. It's handy, but normally we would leave the day before. So we play Thursday, we would leave Wednesday. Get up there, we'd go to the gym, just casual shoot around, no structure, just kind of get shots up, feel the gym. And then we come back, have a shoot around the next day before the game. And then we have the game, and straight after the game, we get back on the flight, fly home. Normally the flights I think the longest one we had was like 3 hours maybe to Texas, which wasn't too bad. And then we come home that night, and then the next day we normally get up and obviously go to practice, nice light practice again. And then we come back to the next day, which is the day before the game. And we normally practice before we get on the flight. So then we fly again, and then the same thing again.
Rinse and repeat. Is there any time for school in there? You meant to be studying a little bit, or is that just coach doesn't mind as long as you're playing good basketball?
Exactly.
covered how you balance and your strength work. Obviously in a team sport, that's dictated a bit. Is there any sort of extra stuff you're doing from a skill work, strength perspective, even your recovery? Things like nutrition, resources, how does all that come together for you guys as D1 athletes?
So normally with skill workouts before practices, a lot of us get with our coaches who are assigned to us at the beginning of the season, and we get in there, get a few shots up, I guess keep the skills kind of there. And then nutrition wise, we have a nutritionist, so she's very helpful. We get given breakfast and lunch normally every day. Sometimes after practice that would give us a meal, which is nice and handy. Very good. And then you have snacks in the gym. They're all the time. They're there whenever you need. And then just recovery. Have any niggles or injuries, you can just go into the training room. Athletic trainer's always there. You have like Normatec boots, like ice bath, cold tub, stuff like that. So all the resources you really need are just at your feet.
So we sort of chat about what off-season looks like, and it's a little bit different to in-season. You want to just give us a quick overview of the change in terms of off-season to in-season?
So off-season, we obviously get to come home. Everyone goes their separate ways for about 5 weeks, and then we come back together. We obviously have conditioning now on the field, 8 a.m. So we do that, and then we have individuals normally for most of the week because we're limited to 8 hours a week. So we normally do that, plus we have a team lift in there in the afternoons as well. So that's on repeat. Normally we get Saturday, Sundays off, which is really nice because obviously you need a break. And then throughout those weeks we have a little practice here and there, which normally is 3 hours long. Death practices those ones. But
when's the season start?
So that, and then we get more consistent and have more team practices and then scrimmages and then back to season.
What's maybe something that surprised you about being over in the States with the basketball there? And obviously there's some of the things we sort of maybe hear and maybe expect, but is there anything that really surprised you or stood out when you landed at Kentucky?
Yeah, I think just realizing how much stuff is just there. The facilities are just next level. You have your strength coach, you have your coaches, you have your nutritionist. Just everything is really there. You don't have to drive anywhere. It makes it a lot easier, whereas you come back home and you have to drive. You have games 7 hours away. It takes a toll, but I think that kind of surprised me because it just makes you think these resources are just next level.
And then just quickly on that, obviously you live 2 hours from Albury and you did Bandits and you're there twice a week plus in individuals. We used to do some gym stuff. So you're used to travelling, and I know a lot of our local athletes travel a lot. How much did overcoming some of that adversity you think set you up for where you are now?
Yeah, I think doing that just, I guess, humbles you a little bit. It makes you realize how much you put effort into. Your parents drive you everywhere. It just makes you realize you enjoy where you're growing up, but then I guess now having those resources there, being on campus, having everything around, it just makes you think, wow, if I had this maybe when I was younger, it could have been easier, but I guess thinking about it, you don't really want it to be easy. You just enjoy it being, having that time with your mum in the car or having the time with your friends and just, I guess, enjoying the little things, which makes you realize how much you enjoy it.
Big games, so like we talk about national championships, do you do anything specifically to prepare yourself for big games, to get yourself ready?
I guess. Normally I keep the same routine. Obviously all of us, we have shoot around, we go upstairs, have pre-game meal, everyone sits in the exact same seat, we have our little areas. But nothing crazy, just knowing that you're set up, you've been prepared the whole season, you've had tough practices, you've done your conditioning, your strength workouts. So just all of that just coming into a big game, it makes you really get excited.
Don't have to stress because you trust your preparation.
Yeah.
It's good. Got to mention your support team. What do you think is the biggest mistake you see athletes make, whether that's over there or from in your journey? Obviously not everyone gets to go through the pathway and end up where you are, so what do you think is maybe some of the key mistakes some athletes make?
I think some key mistakes, I guess, maybe you don't get picked in a team, and it can be hard, so you really wanted to get picked, but I think just realizing giving up, because everything happens for a reason, and I know I didn't really expect to go to a junior college first, but just setting up, and then it takes you to where you want to be, even though it was a harder journey. But I think just not giving up and just knowing that if you keep working hard, you'll get to where you want to be.
Make the most of where you are. It's good. I guess last one. What's something you maybe wish you knew earlier in your career that you could tell maybe younger Amelia a bit of advice? What would you maybe wish you knew back then?
What I wish I could tell. That's kind of a hard question. I would say to just be fine with what happens. For me, at a young age, I didn't get picked in the Australian team, which sucked. But I think just knowing that some things don't always go your way, I think I would tell my younger self to just, it happens, move on. You can be better from it. Even though bad things happen, I think you can grow from those.